So I think that was the issue. I'm not sure it was because he interfered with the press at all.
All right. Give me a moment. Let's get another person who worked closely with him. This time around, served as the Minister of Water Resources, Engineer Suleiman Adamu is live for us virtually. Thanks so much, Mr. Adamu. It's good to see you again. How did the death and the news of the death of the former president come to you?
Well, it was quite status as it would be for anybody that has been associated with him for ages, you know. But you know, as Muslims, we take solace in that it's just a matter of time. But the loss of such a colossus is certainly quite devastating, I must say. Very, very painful.
You are on the ground there in Daura, as I can see. Give us an understanding.
Correct.
I know that you would be one of the inner caucus of this arrangement as a former member of his cabinet, someone who also enjoyed the privilege of serving the nation by the rare opportunity of being appointed as a minister. What do we know? What are the arrangements? What can you tell us from what some of you and your friends are putting together to bury this elder statesman?
Well, you know, the burial is going to be quite simple. We hope once the body arrives in Katsina, it will be escorted to Daura, where the funeral prayers will take place. I want to believe that washed and shrouded. So when it comes, it's just
certainly, Engineer Adamu is one of those who had the privilege of serving. And one of the things that you can give to the Buhari government or his leadership is that you can go to sleep, really, if you're being appointed, that your job is safe. He's not the one that is quick
He didn't fire people.
He didn't fire. He's not the man who uses the power of firing. He does more of the hiring. And when the firing came, a little bit of that we saw in the 8 years of that.
And it would seem that it was to great criticism and sometimes frustration, you know, on the part. How did the administration handle that? Because I know that at some point, even people within the administration might have been a bit uncomfortable with his, well, I say, his unwillingness to fire people whom people thought were underperforming or who they just thought had served out their time. It was time for them to go. Give, for instance, the military chiefs who the president kept for, you know, way longer than was the custom, even within military circles.
In the face of agitation about non-performance. Oh, sorry, Laulu, just before you come in, I know that Mr. Adamu is back with us. If you can hear me, you were telling us and giving us more details on the burial arrangements and some of the logistics that could be a nightmare on a day as this. So please continue.
Yeah, sorry, the network here in Daura is a bit erratic, but like I said, there will be a traditional military ceremony as part of the interment process. And then once he's interred, we'll all go back to the residence for prayers and then to be receiving condolences for the next couple of days. It's a very simple matter, but because of the stature of President Mohammed.
Oh dear. Yeah. Mr. Adamu, it's unfortunate about the erratic nature of the network there. But I'm curious, though, to want to know where the burial ground will be. Do you have an idea, Mr. Adamu, where it will be finally laid to rest? I know it's in Daura, but is it going to be in his home or where exactly in Daura? Do we know the location specifically?
It's going to be in his home, which is his residence.
I know I have a bit of an idea of the president's home in Daura. The point being cited, is it going to be towards the out front or towards the way back where that leads towards the farm area, or where exactly? Can you give us an idea?
No, I don't know exactly myself, but I'm sure it's going to be a very private corner of the residence. That's where he will be buried. I'm sure it's not going to be in the front of the house, certainly, maybe at the back of the residence.
But give us an idea of what this is. A second loss for the people of Katsina, their own sons who have governed this country as presidents, losing them. I don't know, this is not death in office, but, well, these are dear sons of Katsina. How are the Katsina people, the Daura people, how are they receiving the news of their own son, Muhammadu Buhari?
With a lot of pain and anguish. You know, President Buhari, even before he became president, he was very well admired and respected by the people of not only Daura, but Katsina State as a whole. He was for a long time, chairman of Katsina State Foundation, where they did a lot of work for, you know, development work for the people, providing water, healthcare, and things like that. It was a non-governmental effort. So he's a household name. He has been a household name in Katsina State, and very well respected. And I'm sure everybody feels a sense of loss. For the past 2 days, we'll be receiving calls and chats and text messages from people all over. And a lot of people are outside at the gates trying to come in to pay their respects. There is a huge loss for Katsina State, I can tell you. Lots of illustrious sons from Katsina have passed away, and this is just another day of pain and anguish for them.
Indeed, and we can see, you know, well, some of the pictures that have come through earlier, you know, of that downcast nature of people who have been visiting the compound. We understand also that a delegation from Niger is currently visiting as well, and we know just how close Daura is to Niger. As a matter of fact, they were saying the president also came under some flack when it did appear that the train which he was planning was going to end in Maradi. People were saying, oh, how can that be? But what was I don't know if you had a sense of speaking with the president after his time in office, and what, did he express any regrets? Did he express any things that he wishes he could have done differently? Or are there surprises that he expresses as to how some things are being interpreted contrary to perhaps the intentions that he had for them?
Well, you know, President Buhari has always been a victim of misinterpretation. He has always been a misunderstood person. But the difference is that everybody that came to work with him was a different person, an entirely different person, a perfect gentleman, if I must say. So those things never bothered him. You would not believe it. Of all the things that was in the media and so on, Buhari would always read all the major newspapers every day. He would listen to the news channels at 10 o'clock was a must for him, after the 9 o'clock news on NTA. So President Buhari will tell you, look, I've done my best. I've done what I can possibly do, and I leave the rest to Allah. And if somebody doesn't think it was good enough for him, fine. And the president would always say, you remember, judge me on the basis of what we came and met when I became president. You know, he came and met a terrible situation. I remember the first 2 weeks after he was sworn in, I went to see him when he came to Kaduna to tidy up. And he was telling me, he said, look, the kind of things I saw since I took over the handing over notes, it made me feel that I wish if I had known this was how bad Nigeria was, I probably wouldn't have sought for this office. And they say he was really, really scared at how bad the situation has been. But he said, we'll muddle through, I'll do our best. And he always would say, I work according to my conscience, I'll do the best I can, I'll leave the rest to God. So I don't think President Buhari had any regrets about the way he ruled. He presided over the affairs of this country. He knows he was handicapped in a lot of times, but he always believed that he would do what he could. And if that was all that he was able to do, that's it. So I don't think he had regrets. Of course, if he made mistakes, President Buhari will always admit it. I know a lot of time we had conversations privately, say, well, we made a mistake, but let's learn from it and move on. That's that. He was always positive-minded, always, you know, he was always optimistic. He was a very, 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 very strong optimist, I must tell you. And he believed in Nigeria and was really, especially the ordinary people, Buhari was always thinking about them much more than him. Of course, he knew most of the elites didn't like him, but that didn't bother him. As far as he was concerned, he was thinking of the majority of the people of the country. And that was why, that was what he was made of.
Well, we still have pictures of the delegation from Niger showing there to our viewers, and I think more people are also arriving from different parts of the country. We understand that the governor of Lagos State is also on his way to, or has arrived Katsina as we speak. So also the wealthiest, if not the wealthiest man in Nigeria, the wealthiest Africa. We know Aliko Dangote is also on the ground in Katsina State to express their condolences and be a part of the funeral rites.
Indeed, this is just the beginning of what we'll be seeing today. Katsina, more than ever before, will be receiving personalities in the coming days, those who have served in this government, those who have eminent Nigerians, leaders across the globe will be visiting Nigeria to mourn with the nation and to commiserate with the family and, of course, the leaders and authorities in Katsina. One thing that perhaps we want to ask Mr. Adamu is the man Buhari. Is that something that you know that you think a lot of people are not aware of? We heard about his integrity. We've heard about his timing as a person. I mean, that no one will be able to debate, because as a soldier, part of your training is this discipline to timing. But is there something that we do not know, that you know about him that a lot of Nigerians are not aware of? I do know, of course, that he was very sick. There are a lot of people who feared that he was going to, in fact, live up to now, because he himself came out to say he was very, very sick. Give us an insight on your personal relationship. What is it that you think a lot of Nigerians are not aware of about the man Buhari?
First and foremost is that his fear of God. Buhari had a strong faith, very, very strong faith in the Almighty. He was always on one conversation I remember, and I was really touched, and that also was a lesson for me. He said, you know, I took the Quran and swore that I will defend the Constitution of this country. I said, I cannot violate my oath of office. And he didn't say this once, he said this at least twice to me. So his faith, I think that is number one. Then Buhari had the capacity for patience. He was a very, very patient person. He was a very calm and calculating person. He was never ruffled by anything. We have had opportunity. We traveled on the plane. Amid turbulence, we'll all be scared and praying. Buhari, if he was reading a newspaper, you see him calm. He had no issues, because I think being a soldier and has seen death in his face so many times, he was never afraid of death. He was a very calm and very courageous person. And then, of course, you know, I'm sure a lot of people would have told you about his humor, how humorous he is, very witty. He has a very good sense of humor. And Buhari did not want to hurt people unless there was a reason to. If you came and complained about certain people or the people who were doing this, the first thing he would ask you is, please get me an evidence. If you bring the evidence, if evidence is brought before him, he would act. If you don't, he would take it as like any other gossip. Because he's also been a victim of so many false stories and false claims and false accusations, especially in the media over the time of his life. So Buhari was not carried away by, you know, if I may say, official gossip or things like that. He would always check and cross-check. I remember the time where during the NSAS crisis, the day there was this purported shooting in at the toll gate, which was not true. I went to him, I commiserated with him and asked him, sir, maybe you need to talk to the country. And he said, look, I will talk to the country when I have listened to all my security people. They're giving me all the information that I need. But presently, I don't think it's time for me to do that. So this is a man that knew state craftsmanship. He knew how to, he knew how to govern. He has been in so many aspects of governance in his life. And he was not somebody that could easily be stampeded or to do something that because it's the popular will. Or that's for him, it was not about popularity. It's about doing the right thing. Even was not popular with people.
Yeah.